So something else, John, while we're on the subject of criminal law that's been in the news, I think it was only yesterday that it hit.
Yeah.
Lucy Letby.
Yes.
So, as you know, she was convicted for murder and attempted murder of lots of babies very recently. But she's just been retried for further crimes and she's been found guilty again.
Yeah.
So I thought you could just talk to us about how does that work when you've been tried and found guilty of some, not guilty of others, or inconclusive, etc.
Yeah.
How does the process then work of being retried for the same crime?
So what will happen is, so in relation to the first offence, no doubt there will have been a hung jury on some of the counts.
Yes.
So a hung jury means you have a jury which simply cannot make a decision. So for those that don't know, you have 12 members on a jury. Once the jury go out initially, so once the trial is over, the judge has given the direction to the jury, they go to their room to make their decision. The judge will say, we need a unanimous verdict. So all 12 must agree one way or the other, either guilty or not guilty, to make a decision. Then once a certain amount of time has passed, so as a minimum 2 hours and 10 minutes, the judge can then give a majority direction to the jury. What that means is that the judge will accept a majority of 10 to 2, so 10 either way. So that could be either, as long as 10 people agree that the defendant is guilty, or 10 people agree that the defendant is not guilty, then the judge will accept a majority.
Yeah.
If you have 3 people that are convinced one way or the other, then you've got a bit of a stalemate, haven't you? If those 3 people can't be convinced to join the sort of majority. So if you've got a 9-3, that simply isn't enough.
Yeah.
And what will happen is, once the jury get to the point whereby they say, you know what, we're at a stalemate, we simply cannot make a decision, the judge can give a Watson direction at that point. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But when it gets to the point whereby the jury simply cannot, the deadlock can't be broken, it will then be a hung jury. The Crown Prosecution Service then can make a decision. Normally they have 7 days from the point of there being a hung jury to decide whether or not to bring a retrial. And if the prosecution decide that there will be a retrial, that you then effectively have a whole fresh trial.
You do the whole thing again with a fresh jury.
Fresh jury. All the witnesses need to give evidence live again in court, unless they've given pre-recorded evidence, because pre-recorded evidence is sort of frozen in time, so that can obviously be reused. But as a general rule, any live witnesses need to come back. They give their evidence again. The speeches are given freshly to the new jury. So it's a whole new trial, and all the evidence needs to be given again.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, so there we are. So
this is just a good example of commercial awareness and how simple it can be. So you see something like that pops up on your newsfeed, on your social medias, just have a little further read into it. Oh, okay, so she's been retried, she's been found guilty. What does that mean? What is a retrial? What happens? What are the cogs working behind that? Just so you're delving deeper between just knowing what's happening and understanding a little bit more about what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you say, in an interview, that might be a sort of prompt for further questions. As you say, them asking you what's a retrial, what's a hung jury,
what decisions go into it, why does that happen, what do you think about it, is it good, is it bad, etc. So just everything that you see that just strikes a little chord, piques your interest, just do some deeper reading into it, and before you know it, you just expand your knowledge of that subject matter.